All right. So again, thanks for joining us. And so for your host today, obviously myself, Mike Mahana, the U.S. Country Manager, and joined with me is Nikki Brown. I'm excited to have Nikki. If there was a gold medal for AP people, Nikki would be a top candidate for it. She's been doing it for quite a while, and I'm glad to have her here today to walk you through some of the actual demonstration part. So thank you for joining us, Nikki. So what are we going to cover? Let's start off with the company, a little bit about Fast Four. So let me go ahead and jump into this slide here. And, Fast Four, we actually started out in the Benelux area, which, if you're not familiar with that term, stands for Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. And so it started out 10 years ago this year. So that's pretty proud that, survived that long. And it's, has seen quite a bit of growth over the years. And not only growth in size, but where our customers are. So now we started out in Europe, and we're over 40 different countries and continue to grow. So we're excited about that. And not only has the growth happened in our customers, where they are specifically, but then we've got over 850 customers using all of our SuiteApps. So we're pretty proud to have that customer base and look to continue to grow. So thank you for joining us. So the expansion, not only in customers and physical geography, but specifically here in the US, we've got last year we added the US team, and we handle everything from sales to implementation and support. And not only is it, we're kind of the face in the US team, but we have the support of not only the home office, but then great offices like the Czech office. They've grown quite a bit there. And so all of that is, all of us are here to support you as you kind of go through your AP automation and finance growth there. And if you were there at SuiteWorld this year, it's the first time we've had it really since COVID hit. And so it was exciting to be in person and talk and see people, even if we did have our masks on. But we were there this year. We had a booth. So if you were there and had a chance to say hi, that was great. If you've never been there, I would definitely recommend going to SuiteWorld this year. I think it's a great experience to not only hear from NetSuite directly, but then also hear from vendors and partners like Fast Four, and then just to talk to other customers. I think it's a great experience. So definitely recommend it. And if you go this year, definitely stop by our booth. So if you've seen any of our social media, you know that actually earlier this month, Fast Four was acquired by Zone & Co. And so as the title says, we're made for each other, which is kind of funny to think about two companies being made for each other. But, we really have a very similar background. We both start out as solution providers, and added SuiteApps and expanded quite a bit. So we truly are made for each other, and I feel like our solutions complement each other. They basically create essentially a CFO stack that we're calling the Zone Apps platform. And again, I think it allows finance teams to deliver more value to their organization. And, so I'm excited to see where things go from here, but, we're pretty excited to see what's going to happen. So enough about the company. Let's talk about what you really wanted to come here and see today, which is, looking at some of our newer features. And so to do that, we're going to go ahead and talk about what are the SuiteApps that these features are in. And so more than likely, if you're an existing customer attending today, you're on one of these here, or multiples. And we do have customers that sign up for that. But again, we have the scan and capture, the bank reconciliation. It's a nice tool to help reconcile your bank statements in NetSuite, and we can pull those files right in from your bank. Credit card import allows you to use our rule-based engine to help categorize your expenses as they come into NetSuite. And then our SFTP tool, which Generally doesn't stand on its own. It can, but generally it gets sold with either bank rec or credit card to help automate that process. So looking at our features, we're going to focus mainly on bank reconciliation and scan and capture. I mean, scan and capture is by and far and away our largest suite app. And so if we look at this, starting in the bottom left, we've got the clickable PDF. And so this is a great feature in scan and capture. When we bring that PDF in, we show it on a split screen. So we have the PDF on the left-hand side and then your bill entry screen on the right-hand side. And so with the clickable PDF, you simply click in a field on the header, and then you click the field on the PDF of the data that you want to add to that field. So obviously when we read it in, we're populating a lot of information, but if there's other things in there, you can simply click on that field to add it to the bill screen. And so it reduces manual entry, and it reduces the errors that come with manual entry. So we're pretty excited about that. Another one, the three-way matching. So within NetSuite, it has three-way matching, so we're not replacing that. You can still use it if you're using it today, but what we do with our three-way matching is give you the ability to color code when you're processing that bill, how the bill compares to the purchase order based upon the rule that you assign. And so it's it visually can see, is everything green? Does it match accordingly, or something I need to pay attention to? And obviously, we're matching against purchase orders and non-purchase orders alike, but we've also added against enhanced PO matching. And Nikki will show you some of those features here. Not all features are gold medal winning. Sometimes they're silver, and sometimes they're bronze. And so in the bank reconciliation, early in Q1, we brought out some functionality that fixed some of the issues that we saw, some of the things that we heard from customers. And so we brought some of that fixed some of the freezing headers, as well as some of the pop-up enhancements. But then let's go back to some of the gold winning features. And so I think for the bank reconciliation, matching journals to debit transactions, as well as enhanced close and lock period support. And all of our suite apps are NetSuite native. And so what does that mean from a user experience? You stay in there. You don't leave NetSuite to process these transactions. But it also means that we stay in line with the rules that were created when you first implemented NetSuite. And it would be tough to say, hey, I spent all this time implementing, and the first solution I add, it breaks all the rules. And so we're pretty proud that our solution is native. And again, we add some enhanced functionality, still stays within the framework of NetSuite, but just gives you additional options there. So we, on the scan and capture, we added transaction line defaulting. So what this does, obviously when you enter a bill, if it's a non-expense bill, it would, you can use the NetSuite's default expense account. We also have added functionality that allows you to do an allocation. So anytime a bill comes in for this particular vendor, I want to use these 3 accounts, and I want to break it out by these percentages. We also have functionality that says, when this bill comes in, if it says freight, I want to use this GL account, this department and class. And we also can, default that for custom segments. So if you're using custom segments, those are in play here also. The other feature that we have is dynamic subsidiary selection. So if, prior to this feature coming out, if we were implementing you and you had 5 subsidiaries, we would create an email plugin for all 5 subsidiaries. And what would happen then is you would send bills to that specific plugin so that it knew that it went to subsidiary A. What we found over time is there were some customers that had as many as 100 subsidiaries. And so that was 100 plugins that we'd have to create. So what we did is we added dynamic subsidiary selection that allows you to not have to create all those. You create one plugin, and then the application knows, oh, this went to subsidiary A or subsidiary B. So again, they're all functionality that, again, kind of breaks down. You don't have to set up as much stuff is basically what it breaks down to. So N43 parser, this is if you deal with Spain or you have a subsidiary in Spain, this is a gold medal functionality. So basically, you know what this is. If you don't do anything in Spain, this is a bronze or maybe even just an honorable mention. It's really for the bank reconciliation piece goes a long way if you have subsidiary in Spain. Point and click auto learning. So this is a great feature. With machine learning, it needs to happen, time and time again, and eventually the machine will learn what it is that you want in this field when you're processing this transaction. With the point and click auto learning, what it can do is that transaction, it can learn to say, okay, when Nikki processes this bill, this field should always show up in the memo. And so you can do that once and point and click, and it will auto learn that functionality. And so I think she'll show you some of those features as we move along here. And then the last one here, really the intercompany journal support. So, as part of this, when you are reconciling the bank, there's always inevitably, you're going to cross subsidiary, you're going to need to make a journal entry. And so there's the intercompany journal support that allows you to do that. And so you can create a journal right from that pop-up, not have to go out of the system or out of that transaction and make that entry and then come back in. So some nice features. And, really the point of showing this here is if you were implemented in Q1, there might be some new functionality out there that, is beneficial and you should take advantage of. If you're a prospect in hearing this and seeing this for this time, then obviously these are new features that, are available and can be utilized on your implementation if you decide to go with us. So enough about me and about the company and about this. Let's take a look at it. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Nikki, who will now go through and show us the actual functionality.
Thanks, Mike. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining today. I'm happy you guys could show up and get to see all of our latest and greatest functionality of our SuiteApps. So the best way for me to show you is to get right into NetSuite and let you see for yourselves. So what I'll do, let me just rearrange some things here and share my screen. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see my NetSuite. This is my incoming. Well, here, I'll just go to my dashboard. So everybody can see my dashboard at this point.
Yep, we can see that.
Perfect. All right, so I think we should start with the dynamic subsidiary selection. So we'll take a look at some of our scan and capture SuiteApp functionality. This app really ranks high in my books just because of my AP background and using NetSuite. So our scan and capture app will use a native NetSuite email plugin to receive your incoming vendor bills via email. So as Mike was mentioning earlier, so in our previous version, we offered one email plugin to one subsidiary. So because of that one-to-one relationship, the scan and capture application was already able to predefine the subsidiary used. And you'll see here, I'm going to pull up the current plugins that I have in my demo account. So you can see here all these check boxes. These are the individual plugins that I have set up for each of my subsidiaries. So I have 5 individual plugins. In our newest release, we provide the dynamic subsidiary selection. So here you can see I've set up one. This is single email capturing. So what you have to do is enable this feature. So I'm going to just go to my setup, scan and capture setup, and scan and capture setup. And what you'll see here, I'm going to go and click in and edit my current configuration. So if I scroll down here on this OCR tab, you'll see that for the email plugin, I've now captured the scan and capture single email capturing. So that's going to be selected here. So what will happen is when I come into my incoming queue to be processed, you're going to see here we have a subsidiary column. So it's going to give you a more flexible way to connect, one single plugin with multiple subsidiaries. So your plugin will receive an email with an attached vendor bill. Our OCR station will read the subsidiary and vendor information from the PDF, including a complete name, address, tax ID number, for example. and it will select the correct subsidiary, and then it will match it to your vendor in NetSuite based on those details provided on your PDF. And if it can't determine which one is the correct subsidiary or find the vendor, it will still enter into your purchase transactions to be processed in this screen. And you'll see here that it's going to flag it for you in yellow and just let you know some user action will be required. So for high volume subsidiaries, we do recommend that you still create the individual email plugin that has that one-to-one relationship, and then connect your remaining subsidiaries with dynamic subsidiary selection email. So anytime you're looking for additional information on this functionality or for information on any of our SuiteApps, you can always go to our knowledge base. We have one set up for all of our SuiteApps, and that can be found at fastforward.com/support. So what we'll look at now, Mike touched on the transaction line defaulting. So with our scan and capture, when you're processing a vendor bill, the system will allow you to easily create a defaulting rule. So the transaction line defaulting feature will allow you to set up a predefined rule, and then that's going to execute the defaulting of the transaction lines on a standalone vendor bill. So anything not tied to a purchase order. So the defaulting logic is based on the line description of the incoming bill. So the user would define a word or word combination, and then that will be responsible for the trigger. So for my example today, let's take a look at an office supplies bill. We're going to go into this one for Adams Business Supplies. So I'm going to click into here. So what you'll see here, we've got an office supplies bill. So we have a few lines for some products, and then you'll see our last line is for shipping. So this line isn't really related to the office supplies expense. So what we can do, we can use the word shipping, and we can use that to set up the rule. So I'm just going to click in here and just copy this text. So to create the new rule, you can actually do it right here from your line item. So under this scan and capture account /item matching rule applied, you would click into that, and from your drop down, you would select new. So you'll see here, this is where we need to start defining the rule. So we can give it a name. So if we want to call this one shipping, I can just simply paste that text there. Then you'll select which type of record you want it to be active on. So if you want to do bills or credits, or you can just highlight both. So next you'll have to define the matching criteria. So in this particular case, contains is going to be our best bet, our best choice. You can make it more specific and do equal to, and then you can also grab what starts with or ends with. So I'll select contains. In the middle here, you'll see that our vendors already pre-populated, but you can select multiple vendors if you'd like to extend that rule to more than one vendor, or you can click here and it'll apply to all your vendors. And then the same logic for your subsidiary portion. You can have it apply to one subsidiary, multiple, or you can check here and that'll apply to all. So for the last part of the setup, you'll select your GL account. So in this case, I'm going to say freight, and I'll select my freight expense. And then you're also able to select additional classifications for the rule to default to. So I'll select facilities department, and then I can go with my corporate location, and I'll select the class. And then you can also include a custom segment field. So if you're trying to track a particular project, this one I can select, maybe these expenses are for kickoff. So this would be linked, to that particular custom segment as well. So what I'll do is go ahead and click save. Oh, I forgot to put my text in. I'm sorry. So you'll need to give it the text you wanted to try to pick up. So this is where I'll put in my shipping. So once I save this, you'll see that the system is going to instantly apply the rule to the line within that vendor bill. We can see that our account has been updated. It's populated with the classifications. So the next time we receive a vendor bill from this Adams Business Supply, if a line contains the text shipping, the system's going to automatically apply this rule, and then it'll default the segmentation. So this can really enhance the speed in which you're processing your vendor bills. Okay, so auto learning. This is one that I'm really excited about just from my prior AP days. So what I'll do here, so this is a bill for Jones Printing Services. So the benefit of this is because our scanning engine does have machine learning capabilities, this has become a little bit more user interfacing. So what we can do here, so this auto learning feature is enabled by default in all accounts and will allow you to easily train the system and capture additional header level information. So the training is triggered by a simple point and click operation. So if we take a look at this, I'm going to capture data from my PDF into two different field types in NetSuite. So on my left-hand side here, you're going to see we have a vendor bill. So let's assume I want to repeatedly capture a specific value from my PDF into my memo field. So the first thing you would need to do is click into your desired field. And if I wanted to grab the order date, I can come over here and highlight that particular field. And then you'll see it's going to automatically populate the text for me. So you're not limited to just normal text fields. You can also capture information from drop-down fields. So if I wanted to capture the salesperson as myself, I see I have my salesperson field. I'll just click into that blank space, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to highlight my name. So now you'll see that that's populated as well. So the learning works on all header fields and types. So when you click save, the system is going to start learning and it will remember those additional selections that you've created at this point. So if we were to go back into the incoming screen, and let's say another bill has come in for June. So I'm just going to click into this one. So this one was sent after the fact. I'm going to click process on here. And when this loads, what you'll see here on this second invoice, the data is copied over just like we did in our first one. So you can see it's auto learned from those particular fields. So it's automatically put in my order date for me, and then it has automatically filled me in as the salesperson. So with this auto learning functionality, that just brings you one step closer to your AP automation gold medals. Okay. Let's see, let me click out of here. Okay, so we've looked at our custom matching rule, or our transaction line defaulting. We've looked at our dynamic subsidiary, and then we've touched on the auto learning. So now let's switch gears a little bit. And for a final piece here, we're going to switch over to our bank reconciliation side. So as Mike had mentioned, we've got an advanced intercompany journal functionality that has been released, and we're putting that to good use here. So with our bank reconciliation app, you can easily create your advanced intercompany journal entries. So this will allow you to quickly allocate funds to a specific GL account in a different subsidiary. It is possible to allocate funds like to an AP and AR account, and then combined with the entity name, it will create the possibility to apply that amount as a payment at a later time. So some of you might be familiar with our SuiteApps and with the bank reconciliation app in particular. So the first step would be you have to enable the functionality on your bank account and configuration. So I'm just going to navigate to my bank account configurations. And we'll take a look at this one here for my checking account. So there's going to be a checkbox within your configuration. So if I scroll down here, it'll say enable intercompany journal posting. So this box will need to be checked. That would be your first step. To be able to post to a different subsidiary, you'll need to create an intercompany clearing account configuration. So I'm going to go back to my bank reconciliation setup. And then I'm going to click into intercompany clearing account, and then we can just walk through how you would set that up. So I'll click new. So from here, your from subsidiary would be the subsidiary for the bank account you're going to be working. So that I'm going to be working from my Eastern division. So I'll select that, and then select the subsidiary in which you would like to post from in your two subsidiaries. So in this particular one, I'll say that this is Fast4 USA. And then your last piece of it is going to be you would set up a clearing account, and then you would select that clearing account here. So I'll select my Fast4 Eastern to Fast4 USA clearing, and then you would just save it. So you have your subsidiary selected. You've selected your clearing account. So once this has been defined, you would be able to use, this functionality. So what I'll do is go ahead and import a statement so I can show you the examples. So to do that, we're going to go to transactions, bank reconciliation, import statement. And then you're going to select the bank account that you're working with. So we're going to look at our PNC Bank checking. And then what I'll do is select my file. So this is a file that I've downloaded previously and saved in my computer. And then I'll go ahead and submit. So this will happen real time. So depending on how many lines you're working with, we can see here, I only have 2 lines on here, so it does populate pretty quickly. So this specific bank statement, if we look at line 1, I'm receiving a credit amount of $25,000, but let's say this payment belongs to a different subsidiary. So in this case, I'm first going to select my GL account where I would like to post it to. So we can say maybe this is professional fees. And then I'll select in this intercompany to subsidiary. Obviously, I'm going to select where the funds should be going to. So in this instance, let's say it needs to go to my corporate, my USA Inc. And that's all I would need to do for this particular transaction. So if you remember earlier, it is possible that if you select your AP or AR GL account, and then you would also in this name column, you would select the entity or the customer or vendor that this intercompany journal booking, and it will act as a deposit for that customer or vendor on the other subsidiary. And then from there, you could manually apply that to a customer invoice or a vendor bill if you'd like to. For line 2, you can easily split your funds between multiple subsidiaries. So we'll do that here. So to do that, there's going to be an additional column if I scroll over here. Alternate match type. So from within that column, using the drop down, I'm just going to select multi-line journal. And then this is going to pop up a new screen here for your multi-line journal. So what I'll do is just split this one 50-50. So I'll just say I want $20,000 of this. And then I'm going to provide my GL account. So let's say this is advertising. And then I'll go ahead and select in my intercompany to subsidiary column. I'd like to expense this to my Western division. And then I'll add that. And then I'll do the same thing for the additional 20,000. I'll select maybe my travel account. And then I want this to go to my Fast4 Inc. And then I'll go ahead and add that and I'll submit. Okay, so at this point, I've addressed my 2 lines with our 2 different scenarios. So I'll go ahead and save this. So the bank reconciliation application is going to create the intercompany journal entries, and we're going to see a link to those journals so we can review these. So you'll see here in this payment number column, it's now created those intercompany journals. So I'll just open up both of these in a separate tab. So for the first one, if we look at this one, we can see that we have a posting from our Eastern Division subsidiary to our Fast4 USA subsidiary. And then the system is using that clearing account that we defined on the configuration. The second scenario is going to look a little similar, but this is where we split the amount. So looking at this, we can see that we've got, 40,000 from our Eastern Division. We're now splitting it 50-50 to our Western and our Fast4 USA. And it's hitting, of course, the advertising and travel accounts that we defined. And then you can see here that it's using 2 different clearing accounts that we had set up. So with this functionality, you can easily enhance how you're posting your intercompany transactions, and all while working right from within our bank reconciliation application. So those are some of the latest and greatest features that I'm really excited about. I know Mike's going to give you a little sneak peek into what's coming ahead. There's some additional functionality that I think is going to be really great. So let me stop sharing and I will hand it back over to Mike. I'll pass the torch on and he can proceed from here.
Great. Thanks, Nikki. I really appreciate that. One thing I did want to say, we do have the Q&A. So down in the lower section, you should see an option for that. And so if there are questions, you can type them there and we can answer them in a real time. So let's take a look. Go back into this. So looking at our new features. So everything we've shown you so far is in the system. They're ready now that you can take advantage of. But with this one here, these are some new features that are coming up. And so we're equally excited about them across, our different suite apps. Oop, let me go back to this. Let's go into the sneak peek, not the new features. There we go. So a couple things, new support offerings. This year, right now, what we've got is basic support and then premium support. And so this year, we're going to roll out more support offerings to fit your needs, your individual needs as an organization. And so those will be coming out soon. We do have a new scan and capture user interface. And so this is, and I'll show you what the screenshot looks like, but what we've done is we redesigned it so that you can use it more how you want. If you have multiple people involved in it, you can do some really quick filtering. And so it's going to make it a lot easier for you guys to get to use the scan and capture solution. The approvals app, this is probably one of the biggest. This will be a new suite app for us. And what this is used for is when you roll out scan and capture, what we find typically is customers will either kind of fall in, hey, we're doing it manually, like, when a bill comes in, it gets forwarded via email to the approver. They say, yeah, okay, go ahead and this is approved, and then they enter it. So they don't really have a NetSuite approval process, or they have a very simple one in NetSuite. And so what this approvals app will do for you is it will be a easily configured by you as a customer. It's pretty straightforward, and it allows you to customize the approvals for your bills. And so I think that it's going to go a long way to creating the user experience and the business processes that you want using this approvals app. And so that'll be coming out really soon, and so keep an eye out for that. We talked a little bit about the three-way matching, and we're adding more functionality to that. So that'll be coming out. And then the last one here is the pre-scanning station. So this is, it's all part of the scan and capture. But what we found is some customers, when the bill comes in, they say, you know what, the bill comes in, and really it's just the first page that I'm concerned about. The remaining 5, there's nothing on there that I'd want to process. And so right now, what happens is all 5 pages get, you incur a cost with that. Well, with the pre-scanning station, what you get is you can say, you know what, I just want to process page 1. And so page 1 is then processed through the OCR tool, and then you would get charged for just that first page. And so there's additional functionality in there, but I think this is going to be really powerful to give you and the finance team the ability to basically incur charges that in line with the value that you're receiving. So so again, the way it works right now is you get charged 38 cents per page unless you have volume discounts for every page that you scan. And so that's and with this pre-scanning, you can knock that down even further if there's pages that you don't want the system to scan. So looking at the new interface, so this is when you currently click on the to be processed or screens of process, kind of like what Nikki showed there, where it had a lot of that green section. That's this screen here, but you can easily move columns around. As you can see here, I can filter out certain fields if I don't want to see it. I can do that. And again, it's just going to make it easier to use. So very nice feature there. The suite approval. So this is, like I said before, gives you the ability to customize your bill approval process with point and click abilities. And so you can see here, we're easily creating layers of approvals, and those approvals can be, dollars, or they can be subsidiary driven. So there's a lot of information that you can do. And the intent is that you guys can do that. We are here to support you if you need that. But again, this is a nice feature to put the control back into your hands. So those are kind of some insight into the features that are coming up this year. in addition to webinars like this one, we're also producing a video series on customers that are looking at AP automation, some of the features out there. We've got one out there right now that is, if you're looking at utilizing AP automation, what are the things that you should be considering as you're, evaluating them? We've got another video that's going to come out on Monday, and it'll be in LinkedIn and on our website, and certainly on our YouTube channel, that will show you or talk about, well, how do you implement this? What are the things that you should be thinking about? Because there are aspects of change management, like how much do I want to, work with my vendor data? Do I want to use approval process in this? What are the things that I should be evaluating? How long is it going to take? And so we discuss a lot of those things based upon what we've seen customers go through when they get implemented. So again, take a look at that. That'll be out there. And that is everything that we wanted to go over with you today. So it is just over 30 minutes there. And we'll kind of open it up for questions. We had one in there about pricing, and I think I talked about that a little bit. If there are any other questions, certainly we can answer those. If you think about a question afterwards and you want to, you can certainly reach out to us. My email is mike@fast4.com. And if not, there's a page on our website that also allows you to say, hey, reach out to me to share more information about our solution. So doesn't look like there are any other questions. So I want to thank everyone for attending today. And if you're watching this, the recorded session, appreciate your interest, and everyone have a great day. Take care.